Hi, I'm Bridget, and I'm going to show you how you can easily turn a well-known beefsteak into recipe-ready beef with a few simple knife strokes. Today we're starting with the top sirloin steak, which is my favorite cut to use for this, and I'm going to demonstrate cutting it into stir-fry, stew meat, and cubes for kebabs. There are a few reasons why you might want to do this. Number one, you might not be able to find these cuts in your grocery store when you're looking for them. Number two, you might just want to use your favorite cut in one of these forms. Or you might have some steaks left over from a barbecue that you're looking to use in a creative way. A few tips before we get started. Number one, you want to find a good sharp knife to use that you're comfortable with. Number two, you can put your steak in the freezer for up to about 30 minutes before cutting. That's going to make it more firm and easier to cut. And then number three, you want to make sure you cut each piece as evenly or uniform as possible. That's going to help with the cooking process when you have more even pieces. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this into strips for stir-fry. Stir-fry strips are generally 1/4 of an inch thick. And so one thing that you can do with a sirloin steak to make sure you have manageable stir-fry pieces that aren't too large for cooking is you can split this top sirloin steak in half before you cut your strips. So that's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to cut it in half lengthwise. And then from each half I can begin cutting my 1/4 inch strips for stir-fry. So I just start at one end and I cut 1/4 inch strips that are as uniform in size as possible. You can continue cutting these until you have as many as you need or until you run out of steak. I'm going to add these to some I've cut earlier. Now for cubes for stew meat or kebabs, you want to cut your cubes into 1 to 1.5 inch squares. And we want to again make sure we cut them as uniformly as possible. So the same process, take your sirloin steak and cut it evenly into 1 to 1.5 inch cubes just by eyeballing it. Again, you can cut as many as you need or all of your steak into cubes. So that's one way that you can easily use a cut like a top sirloin steak and turn it into recipe-ready beef. You can also use other popular cuts like top round or flank steak, any cut that you prefer. So just have fun with it and remember to visit beefit'swhatsfordinner.com for additional tips, recipes, and the interactive meat case.